I'm Dr. LuLu Shimmick. I'll be your host and guide tonight for how to create a wellness board. I'm so excited for this webinar. It's such a great way to really jumpstart your 2022. And if you could go ahead and introduce yourselves, put it in the chat, where you're from, where you're tuning in from, it really helps us create a healing community and connect around the world. So I'm here in Asheville, North Carolina, as well as Sonia, and she's our admin, and she's behind the scenes here. If you have any questions or problems about anything, please feel free to send her a chat and she can help. And we also put the link for the guide for today's webinar, and she's going to go ahead and slide that in for you again so you can access that really easily. We also have some other things. Oh, great. Welcome from Tempe. Send some warm air this way. We're having some cold weather and beautiful snow and enjoying the white winter here today. We had about 8 inches so far. I think it's on a little break now. Oh, welcome from Louisville. Wonderful to see you. We have some other guides we'll be using tonight, and I'll be talking about those, and Sonia will be putting them in the chat for you as well, and you'll be able to use those. So let's get started here. Here's how the webinar is going to work tonight. This is going to show you just what our flow is, because I always like to have people be aware of what we're tuning into, what's going on. So introductions, I'm going to introduce myself so you can get to know me a little bit better. And then we're going to learn how to make a wellness vision board, which is the goal of tonight, to really get your boots in, so to speak, and really start to learn and implement the things we're going to learn today in the webinar, to take that at home and really start to get your 2022 juiced up. So we're also going to do some breakout sessions, and we're going to talk about that. And then we're going to do a wrap up. Make sure you're tuning in for the wrap up, because we're going to have an awesome giveaway. And then we're going to have a Q&A session. So please make sure that you hold your main questions for me, but you can go ahead and put it in the chat. But if you want to put them in the Q&A section, that's the best, because then we can just keep those and I'll be able to answer them all at once. And if there's anything specific, we'll have time to do all that together at the end. So that's our flow this evening. All right, so nice to meet all of you. I'm so excited again to have you here tonight. And this year is just going to be so great, but I really thought this would be a wonderful way to help everyone to have that vision of health. It's similar to a vision board, which I want to talk about, but that was my goal, is to really help the community to feel this sense of wellness. So a little bit about me. I'm a naturopathic physician and functional medicine practitioner. I'm an author. I have my own book, just came out in 2021. I'm a botanical formulator. I love to make my own healing plant formulas for my patients. It's very individualized and very special. It has a wonderful, unique energy. And I'm a podcast host. My host is The Genetic Genius. If you haven't tuned into that, it's an amazing podcast. I've guests from all over the world, and we talk about all things alternative health. So if you're interested in a great podcast, check it out. It's on Apple or on my website. And I also have a new book that came out. Well, that says this year, last year. It's called Detox, Nourish, and Activate Plant and Vibrational Medicine for Energy, Mood, and Love. If you haven't gotten a copy of my book, make sure to check that out. That's going to really help jumpstart you for 2022 in your health journey. So what do I really do? What's my specialty? Well, I really help mainly women, some men as well. My specialty is in hormonal health. I help women to really find their joy and passion when they're in this place of hormonal imbalance. I help with adrenal fatigue, thyroid issues, gut issues, detoxification. Those are my specialties and niches that I really help patients. And what kind of makes me different is I come about everything from a mindset perspective. So I'm really from the standpoint that when we really dive deep into that emotional component, that is going to really help us move through that place of disease, that chronic disease, autoimmune disease, etc. So I work with patients to really discover what that root cause of the disturbance is. And it's not about treating the symptoms, but really treating the cause. So today we're going to be jumping into learning how to create a wellness vision board, how to create that wellness vision for 2022. So let's dive in. All right. So, unless you've been living under a rock for the last 20 years, you've probably heard of the word or term vision board. And you can take a board or any flat surface. You can do it in a physical form, or you can do it also in a digital way too, right? There's lots of programs that you can use to create a digital one. And you can add pictures and various other design elements to have a visualization of what you want, you hope, your dream, you strive for, right? This is where you bring everything that's in that head floating around, those dreams that have from the past, the present, the future, and bring that in and really help bring that to present. Over in the chat, just let everybody know as you're chiming in here, what are some of your visions for 2022? So we can really help support you, because this is one of the things that I love about webinars is it brings people in from all over, and we have that energy together, that healing collective. So chat, put it over in the chat there. What are some of your visions for 2022? And let's watch those kind of jump on in. So what's the difference now between a vision board and a wellness vision board? And that's what I'm going to talk about today. It really is going to be a lot of a different kind of focus as we move forward. You'll see that. So the vision of a vision board has really changed dramatically since like original concept, right? Now people don't just use them as a means for law of attraction, really bringing that like joy of health in. Oh, yay. That's a total good one. Get healthy. I love that. That's a great vision for 2022. And when we're talking about the law of attraction, we're bringing in things into our space, into our personal space that we want to attract in. So exercise, yoga, healthy eating, walking in the woods. Those are all things that we're going to be putting on our vision board. And when we have a way to visualize them, whether that's on a board in front of us, in a planner, in an electronic form, it helps us to work towards that goal in a much easier way. And especially when we work together as a community. Oh yeah, I love that. Vibrant, perfect health and energy. That's a great one, Felicia, because that vibrancy is how we really can shift things when we're working on our vision. So what exactly is a wellness vision board? Let's talk about that, because I think that's probably where you're like, what's Dr. LuLu talking about here? So let's check that out. Okay, so a wellness vision board, to simplify it, right? A vision board is a type of visual tool, and that can be anything like I was mentioning. You can have something on a piece of paper. What I like to do, like daily visions, I'll do like just a piece of paper, like a brain dump style. You can have something on the computer. You can have something on the wall. But I think one nice thing about creating one yearly one first is it really gives you that big vision of what's coming forward, and you can always look back to it. So it helps us to take specific goals that we have, whether that's a personal goal, a financial goal, or a professional goal, or a health goal. And then those goals come together to create this larger vision. And many different people create vision boards for many different reasons. And we're going to talk about that tonight. So in this presentation, you're going to learn all about how to create your wellness board, the different categories you can include to have the ultimate wellness, right? That's like the hugest goal. We all want to be the best that we can be. But when it comes to our health, what that does is it really allows us then to have that wellness flow into all areas of our life. That health is key. Then we have the energy to do everything else we're excited about. So how to create and achieve goals with those in mind is, of course, getting your vision board all set up. So I'm going to talk to you how to do that. And you're going to get some great, clear instructions on creating a vision board for every month of the year too, because I think that's important. You have like your larger vision, right? And so when we're talking about the yearly goal, we have this larger vision. And then we also want to create a monthly vision, because that monthly vision is like a mini snapshot of the larger one. So I'm going to talk to you about that. And then I'll talk to you about the different ways that they can formulate. All right, so here we go. So why do we want to create a wellness board anyway? That wellness vision board, what's the point of it? And let's talk about that. So I love this here, right? This is a different style. We can have different images, and this is a great one to do like Pinterest. You can even create a wellness board from. So I'm creating the life of my dreams. That is a huge part we're doing when we're creating our wellness board. I want you to like expand your vision out. What are you really opening up in it and want to really embrace this year? What's your dream? And just out here raising my vibration, right? You just want to be the best you can be, the happiest, have the clearest vibration for the clearest health. I am capable of achieving my biggest goals. And when we have a larger vision, it allows us to achieve it. We can, if we just have a tiny, maybe small vision, then we can achieve it. But what about that bigger goal? So the first thing is exactly why you might want to create a vision board or multiple vision boards. So that's one thing I wanted to mention here is maybe as you're going to see the different categories, maybe, okay, I want to create really like that health and wellness one. Maybe I really want to focus a lot on my career. Then maybe you want to have a career one. So you can have a major vision board and then have smaller ones. Maybe you're like, this year, I really want to focus on my health, but I want it to be all about my immune system. And so maybe that is your board itself. And so you can easily make one large over-themed one, or you can divide that into smaller ones. So these are some of the primary benefits of vision boards, though you will find many other benefits as you go along with creating your own and discovering that within yourself. Okay, so you can visualize your dreams, right? That's one of the big things about a vision board is that dream aspect. So through a vision board, it takes all the thoughts, right? All these things, the fantasies, dreams, visions in your brain and that big, beautiful head of yours, and it puts them in front of you in a tangible way. And visualization is a very powerful tool. You can use that for health, abundance, meditation. There's many different ways that you can use the actual aspect of visualization to shift and change your life. So it's a very powerful tool, and it takes thoughts, right? It's those thoughts that you normally maybe don't have in one big view. So you can think of it like you're expanding your view of the universe. And your universe is the biggest dream that you could possibly imagine. So over here on the picture, you can see it says, dream boldly. And that's what I really want to help you today in this webinar is to know that there's no limits to what you can dream about. The universe is here for you and is going to provide for you anything that you want to this year. So dream the biggest that you can. Okay, let's talk about priorities. So when it comes to priorities, and our vision board, it really helps us to prioritize kind of the areas of focus. What that means is it helps us to fine tune and really to focus in on the major subjects, and then we can subdivide those into smaller ones. So just setting up your vision board and choosing what you want on it gives you an idea of what it is in the forefront of your mind. Like I was mentioning, immune system. Maybe, for instance, you're like, okay, this year it's all going to be about boosting my immunity. So maybe like health is or maybe immunity is your main word. I'm going to talk about how to choose a word. And then maybe you have all of these different side subjects that really help to bring that into play. Maybe that means you're exercising more, you're taking immune boosting supplements, you're taking time off for self-care, which is so key. And so how can you make things on your board a priority, bringing them to the front of your mind? So this doesn't mean other items you didn't choose right away aren't important. Of course they are, but you have to make certain priorities on your board. And another thing I wanted to mention is that when we have that board, you can shift it up. That's one thing I like about the monthly board. So say, for instance, you have an overarching board with lots of different categories. And then every month you're like switching some things up. You're like, okay, I was focusing on the immune system, but actually maybe it's more just my lungs. Maybe that monthly one is about opening up your breathing, letting go of grief, being able to express yourself truly and fully. So there's lots of different ways that you can do that. So I'd love, why don't you guys just pop over in the chat? What are some of your things that you really want to prioritize this year? So we can start getting some of those words flowing through. You talked about your vision, but now what are those priorities? Like I mentioned, okay, breathing, or maybe if you're talking about exercise, I really want to lose 10 pounds. I really want to be able to ride or let's say run a marathon. Like what are those priorities? So it gives you an idea of what you might want to start working on first. So that's really key. When we're doing these overall arching priorities, then we can start to able to see those. Oh yeah, energy, sleep, and joy. I love those. And that's really important too, because when we have sleep as a priority, it helps all of the other areas of our life, because in sleep, we have that restoration phase. So it really helps our whole body to be energized. All right. Stretching. That's a great one. I love that. Breathing, confidence. Yeah. Oh, love it. Keep them coming. Those are great. And stretching is really key, because when we loosen up those muscles, we're stretching our whole body, we're stretching the mind. It allows us to see things in a bigger place of vision. All right. Let's talk about goal setting. So one thing I want to mention about quote unquote goal setting is that sometimes people have a hang up when it comes to setting, to making a goal. That can be a hang up for them. If that resonates with you, you're like, oh, when I just hear the word goal, it just makes me want to run out the other room. We'll just change that up for a word that is easier for you to relate to. Okay. Lots of times when I work with patients, I'll just say, let's just have it be like vision. It's like we're creating the vision instead of goals. So but we're going to be talking about goals today, because that's the same word as priority. Basically, how are we going to achieve those goals? How are we going to achieve those priorities? All right, so we're going to set goals with our vision board. And look at this picture. I just love it. This person, he's like he or she's out there skiing, and just, I'm going to climb that mountain. This made me think of it because of the snow we're having here. And when you have that goal and you can see it in front of you, it's tangible. It's so much easier to get to it. One thing about goals is you want to set things that are attainable. Of course, have things that are maybe stretch you, because you want to expand yourself, expand your vision, but you also want to have things that are attainable. You don't want to set goals or visions for yourself and you're like, that sucked. I didn't get anything accomplished that I wanted to this year. Maybe your goals and priorities weren't shifted in a way to allow you to grow into them. So that's one thing about the monthly vision boards or monthly goals. It then allows you to shift things quickly. If you're like, this is stagnant, why am I not? Maybe you have a goal of making, I don't know, $20,000 this week or something like that. You're like, okay, so my goal is blank. And then I didn't make that at all this month. So what was that part that you need to shift in your vision plan to make it move forward? So I want you to all to start opening up your vision to the 2020 wellness, but also that monthly wellness as well. So you can start by adding pictures. Pictures is a great thing to do in a wellness board. So you can either do that one, like I mentioned, through Pinterest, if you're going to create an electronic one. But I also like the feeling of the tangible myself personally. I like the tangible aspect of writing, because you're using all different parts of your brain, right? You're writing, you're cutting, you're taping, I like colors and sticky notes. So I think when you're doing pictures, like if you're cutting out from a magazine, you see that picture, but you could also do that in a Pinterest board. You could create one that just said, these are my goals for 2022. As long as you're not going to hide that away and never visualize it, right? So you can start by adding pictures of where you want to be. Maybe like for me this year, my goal is I'm going to Italy, and I'm doing it. I'm doing it in April. So I had that vision, and now I can say, well, where are all the things that I want to see? I want to make sure that I take a ride on the gondola, right? So maybe I'm going to put a picture of a gondola there. I'm going to take a swim in the ocean, like whatever it is, you want to manifest that. So how can you accomplish those actual visions, goals, is through images. It really helps to connect. And it helps us to create a specific imprint in our cells, in our brain. So we're creating a new neural pathway when we create that image through something written, through something in our brain. So then we create this new healthy tape loop of the vision. So then it allows us to have this much bigger vision and goal accomplished. Okay, so also you gain more focus and attention. So you might have guessed by now, the vision board is also a wonderful tool for having more focus and acting with intention. And at the end of your guide, I'm not going to be talking a lot about it today, but if you're following along with the guide, you'll see in the last 3 or 4 pages, I put a whole section about how to use your intention and creating an intention focus. And that's what I'd like you to shift when you're thinking about a wellness board. It really comes from this place of intention and acting when you're even when you're gluing that image or taping that image or creating that visual image, digital image, what is the intention? Just take a moment and think, okay, I'm going to place this on here. And my intention is that it's going to come easily into my life. So everything we do when we're creating this wellness and vision board for 2022 is going to come from a place of intention. So when you look at your board every day, and that's another thing too, don't just make this amazing 2022 board and stick it away in your closet. You want to have it. For me, I have, if you can see my office, I have like big, huge sticky notes all over. So it helps me to really attain my goals. So you want to keep that vision board near you somewhere. If you like have a desk, right? Most people have a desk that we work at, maybe, but maybe you don't, maybe you're in a small space. So maybe you just have it like taped to your, I don't know, your refrigerator, right? And so you want to have it in a place where you can look at it all the time and you can set the intention. So as we're going to be talking about what our words of the year are, that's going to be your focus and intention. So when you start to look at that board every day, you understand what those priorities are and they don't get lost because we get busy, right? We get busy, we lose our focus. We're like, what was that thing that I said I wanted to do in 2022? I forgot. And another thing that can be is to share your goals, your visions with your partner, your friend, your family. If you want to share them on social media, what are your goals? And then look back and say, oh yeah, that was the goal that I set in 2020 and I did it, right? Or 2021, I did it. 2022, I did it. You're like, oh, I didn't quite get to it this year. I'm going to add it to next year. So you act with intention and purpose by completing tasks related to these goals you have on your vision board. So what's the purpose of your wellness vision board, right? Okay, we're talking about how to make one, but what's the real purpose behind it? So areas of focus and improvement. I love this picture here. So what are some areas? I know you've all been chatting about some things you want to bring into your vision. What are some, put them over in the chat. What are some things you want to actually improve this year? Let's say, for instance, you're like, last year I was really good at running. I ran a 5K, but this year I really want to focus on, I want to run a marathon. That's just an example. Maybe it doesn't have to be anything with exercise. Or you're like, maybe I've been really on a scale of 1 to 10, my energy is about a 2. And this year I want to improve my energy and I want it to be an 8 or a 10. So put some things over in there. Oh, I love that, Juliana. Healthy eating and exercising. So what are some areas? And this is where we're going to see we have the bigger vision, the priorities, then we have the focus of improvement. And when you're talking about improvement, so healthy eating, like I'm just going to talk about that for a second. Healthy eating, exercise is an area, but when you're talking about focus, I want you to be specific. So let's say, for instance, this is a great one to talk about. You're like, okay, how do I, for me, I'll talk about myself particularly. Over the holidays, I ate a lot more sugar than I usually eat. So one of my things that I'm going to focus on and fine tune on that bigger category of healthy eating is removing sugar. So when you're talking about areas of focus, those are the types of things you're fine tuning in. Yeah, eating, staying more focused, gluten-free. That's a great one, Sonia, because we tend to really overeat during different things when we're stressed. Over the holidays, since the pandemic, all those things add extra stress and we don't always eat towards our nutritional goals. And that's one thing I love about this picture here is that it shows us like superhero, right? What's your superhero power that you want to improve on? Are you a great communicator? I really didn't communicate that well with my friends and family this year because we were isolated. And that was a huge one for people. So maybe this year you're going to focus on how can I improve my communication skills in a way that's different because we're living in different times. So think about that when you're talking about your areas of focus. Oh yeah, Juliana said no sugar and more veggies. That's a great one. Yeah, more veggies. You got to have those veggies on that plate. So key. So there are things to keep in mind when you're figuring out what to put on your vision board and which direction to go with it. And it can help you to get unstuck because sometimes when we're making the vision board, you're like, oh man, that's going to be like an impossible goal. So what we want to do is we want to create a goal right? That overarching goal, that bigger vision, that's attainable, like I mentioned. And then what's going to help us to get unstuck from that area of mindset? Because we have it, we're like, I'll never be able to do that. I'll never be able to achieve that. That's the old thing. I want you guys to leave that SHIT in the background, right? 2021 is behind you and you're moving forward into 2022. You don't want to put anything on your board that is from the past. It all has to be the vision of who you are in the future, because it's not serving us. That is that layer of stuckness in that wellness wheel, right? You want to have new spokes on the wheel, new areas to help you move through things much more easily and quickly. And then you want to figure out, again, like I said, the areas that need the most improvement. Okay, so start by knowing what you want. You may be thinking like, great, Dr. LuLu, I'm going to make this amazing wellness board, but I don't really know what I want. We're going to talk about that today, and then I'm going to help with that. Okay, so I love this here. This picture one, this fall picture is so pretty. And so part of reaching your destiny is understanding your destination, right? So if you have a big goal, let's say, for instance, you want to write a book this year. You're like, I want to write a book and I want to be a published author. You're like, okay, that's my destiny, but what are the things that are going to get you to the destination? You need to meet new people or maybe need to take a class in writing. Maybe you need to network with publishers, whatever it is, what is going to help you get to that destination? So it's like when you're on the train, what are all those pieces connecting the cars to the train together? You need the caboose at the end to get that energy going, but you need a locomotive too. You got to have that energy and that fuel. So that's really key when we're talking about making the vision board. And when it comes to choosing a theme for the upcoming year, you can start by thinking about what you want more of. So let's start at the basics. Okay, I want more abundance. I want more health. I want more love. I want more energy, right? Start at the basics, and that will help to get things moving in the brain. And if you're not sure, you're like, okay, I'm stuck about what those ideas are, Dr. LuLu. Consider these questions about the different areas of your life, right? So you're going to see these series of slides, and this is where you're going to come back to. You'll have access with these, of course, and you'll be able to see, okay, these are the questions that get your juices flowing for the vision board. So you want to really dig deep in. I'm not talking about superficial. That's the difference kind of too with a wellness board. You really want to look at like the deep stuff, not the superficial. And then you want to ask yourself, how can I create these areas? What do I want to see more of? What do I want to see less of? And that piece there, that last piece that I just said, remember I said, bring the 2021 into your new vision, but we have that yin and yang, we have that contrast, but I don't want you to focus on the no, we want to focus on the yes, yes. So you can have that come up, but I don't want you to add it into the board. Okay, so ideas for what to include on your wellness vision board. So now I'm going to go through and give you some great things to get those juices flowing. All right, and you have a copy of this was sent out, and Sonia will pop it into the chat too. So if you want to print this out now, you're more than welcome to. So this is some categories that I think are really great. And I'm going to show you, of course, a bigger one of that. So you could draw this, you could print this out really big and put it straight onto your vision board. Super easy. So my wellness vision board, right? Now it's going to be your turn to make the masterpiece vision. So think about yourselves as being the Pablo Picasso, the Da Vinci of your wellness vision. How are you going to create the most amazing painting that you've ever made in your life? That's the kind of focus and thought that's going to go into 2022. So we have health and home and money, fun, family, work. All these are just examples, or maybe these are the categories. These are the most common ones, and also the ones that really can tap into those areas of wellness. Okay, so then what I did is I put some great ideas on here for you, and you'll have this is also in your handout there that Sonia, thanks Sonia for popping that in there. So let's look at the health one. You could see that's like that wellness piece. So I broke it down, and you're going to see some more examples on the slide. So eat healthy, nutrition. How are you going to do that? It's easy to say maybe your goal is eating less sugar, right? That was when somebody put that in the chat there. And that's a great one, but you need to get specific and then don't lose the thought of it. So what are you going to eat instead of sugar? Is it just going to be elimination? You want to have that still that satisfaction. Maybe you're like, okay, I'm going to remove refined sugar, but I'm still going to treat myself to delicious, healthy fruits, like whatever that is, right? Physical, what's your health goal? Your emotional health, that stress piece, that mindset, so important right now. We have experienced so much stress over the past 2 years, not only individually, but as a culture, right? This not being able to go outside and commune, have that connection, having to wear a mask, having to be vaccinated, all these stresses that our body has been experiencing. So we have the physical, the emotional, the spiritual health. How are you going to connect more with your inner self, your inner truth, your purpose, place, passion, right? That's important. Exercise. And the other, then you can see at the bottom down at the left here, fun. How are you going to have more fun? Because that, to me, I think is the key to wellness. When you have fun, whether that's adventure, experiences, hobbies, when you're having fun, you are loving life. So what makes your life fun? Is it like making cakes with friends? I don't know. Or maybe it's having trivia night. Whatever it is, how are you going to bring more of that into your life? Family, happiness, quality time, communication, opening up that fifth chakra and the thyroid gland. Work. What does that mean to you? What's your path of work, your values, your alignment? Abundance, money, I'm in the money category. Abundance, stability. What are your goals for money and abundance? And then home at the top. I like having home at the top because that's our safe space, so to speak, where everything happens, everything's created. Gardening, how are you going to work outside with the plants and nurture the environment that you live in? Hospitality, are you going to have people over? Is your home inviting? Are you doing stuff mainly on Zoom? How are you creating a hospitality environment visually, digitally? Decor, is your environment around you clean and neat and organized or messy? So you can see there's so many different categories when it comes to specific areas of wellness. So put over in the chat something that's up on this board now. You're seeing like, wow, this is an area that I really didn't think about when it came to wellness. Or maybe you're like, oh, this is a new category that I actually think that I might need some extra help in. So go ahead and pop those over in the chat. And for me, I think an area that I really want to work on this year is my family environment, because myself and my family have been a lot more isolated over the past 2 years. And so I have my home environment with my husband very stable, but my outside environment with my family has been more distant. So that's one thing that I really want to work on. I love that. Yeah, definitely fun. Someone just posted, Christine, what's an example of carrying over something from 2021? That's a great question. So let's say, for instance, let's talk about the wellness category. So let's say, for instance, you had been or are experiencing a lot of chronic pain and inflammation. Now, when you're talking about creating your wellness vision board for 2022, you don't want to bring any of that into your vision for 2022. So what you want to say is, I want my body to be flexible. Maybe flexibility is your word for 2022. And you want to create, maybe that health and category piece is actually the biggest part of your board. You're like, I'm so fed up with feeling like I can't live my life because I'm in pain. That's very common. So it's like, what's that vision of what you see yourself living if you didn't have any chronic pain, if that makes sense. So pop that in the chat if that doesn't make sense, but I'll explain it. So what you want to do is you want to create the vision. Okay, let's say, for instance, every time you even just get out of bed, you're like, oh, I feel so stiff. I have pain when I get out of bed. So you want to have that vision of being flexible, flowing. Maybe you have a tree like flowing like the wind, or maybe every time you walk down the road, you feel ankle pain. Whatever it is, you want to bring the vision of what you are going to look like, because in 2022, like already has happened. Everything that even happened a minute from now has already happened. We can't change that. And so we don't want to bring that forward. Exactly, Christine. So instead of saying pain-free, say vibrant and alive, and then actually have images of how you would see yourself in that new place. What's that thing you're leaving behind? So let's say, for instance, money is a great one. Lots of people have, money can be an issue for them. So let's say, for instance, man, I'm so tired of working this job that's not helping me have the successful life that I want, and B, not being stable. So what you want to put instead on your vision board is, what does that look like if you have financial stability? What does that new job look like? Okay, so I hope that explains that. If there's more questions, I would love to answer them. Okay, let's move on. Okay, so this next section is all about questions. So these are questions that you're going to start asking yourself to see what those categories are going to look like. The categories here, so all these categories here, these are going to be questions then that kind of stem your brain to get the juices flowing, to get your mind really moving. So do you wake up each morning feeling energized and ready to go? Or do you feel sluggish, tired, and unmotivated, right? Are you making time to move your body each day? Prepare nourishing meals? Have you sought out experts like a naturopathic doctor like myself, or chiropractor for any health issues that you're experiencing? How would you rate your health overall? So if the health is your overall arcing major board or major thing on your board, like if we're going back to these circles here, you can even sometimes make these circles or whatever shape you want to be bigger. Like maybe health is like a big one, and you're like, okay, I'm not going to have so much of a focus on my home and money, so those are going to be smaller, so to speak. So that can really help. Physical health. So actually breaking down that physical piece. So your physical health can start with your physical appearance, such as losing weight or toning your body. You can include images that show the types of body you want. So you're like, okay, maybe even an image of yourself. Let's say, for instance, you're like, okay, over the past 2 years, since the pandemic, I had to sit a lot. I did a lot of Zoom calls, and maybe you added on some extra weight, but you have a picture of what yourself looked like 2 years ago. You're like, wow, that picture of me. So this is an example of actually bringing something forward from the past that helps you to is a good thing, because it's showing something that you're shifting to. But what you want to do is, so say you put this picture on your board, you're like, wow, I really want to have that tone, but then expand the vision, go a step further, and what would it look like if you even looked even more amazing than that? So it can also be about general health issues you can have, or visualizing what it looks like when you heal certain aspects of your physical health. Maybe you're having thyroid issues. What does it look like when you're actually help heal the thyroid? Do you have better metabolism? Are you able to lose weight easier? Think about those things. Or maybe you just want to focus on eating better or exercising. So those are good images to include on your vision board. So emotional health, this is a huge piece. All of these things are connected, right? I put them in different kind of like categories. And go back to here. So I put them in different categories here, but you can see that in the health section, these are all really interconnected, okay? So emotional health, these are also ways to include, or there are also ways to include your emotional or mental health on the vision board. Very important. And maybe you've been suffering with anxiety and you want to visualize what life would be like after you treat it, or you want to express your emotions about your depression or stress. So let's say, for instance, you have a lot of anxiety about health, very common. And so, okay, what would it look like if I didn't have that anxiety about my health? What would my body look like? What would my mental health be? What would my emotional health be if I let my anxiety go, right? Maybe that's your word, is just let go. Maybe you're just going to, okay, when I get up in the morning, I'm going to focus on something else. I'm going to fine tune my focus on something else besides anxiety. And if you guys remember, if you've ever seen that TV show, Cesar Millan, the dog whisperer, he always talked about when you're training your dog, you have to shift the focus, because that's the same way that I want you to think about when it comes to wellness. If you've been focusing, let's say, for instance, you have hypothyroidism, you're like, and that's every day you think of, you're like, I'm just so fatigued. I just can't seem to do what I want to do. But so you have to change that thought process, because if you think about, I'm tired, you're not going to move into that energetic state. So you have to change that tape loop and change that thought process. So this is just as important as improving your physical health. And actually, I think that, and that's why I work so much with mindset and mindfulness with patients, is that this emotional piece is almost more important than the physical piece. Because when you change that emotional set piece, that mindset piece, you can move mountains when it comes to your physical health and spiritual health. So spiritual health, what kind of energy are you creating in your life and your relationships? Do you feel at peace with the universe? Maybe you're like, you know what? I'm just so fed up with this pandemic. I'm just mad. And that's a common, it's very common. So how are you going to become at peace with that? And that might, maybe that's part of how you're going to work in 2022. How can you move in a place of peace with what's going on right now around you and create your own peaceful environment, right? In that state of maybe panic or fear around you. Maybe you have family members that are really panicking about health. So that's just an example. Do you anticipate good things happening to you and for you, right? Are good things coming to you on your vision board? Maybe you're like, okay, man, I'd really love a new car this year. I want you to feel that. What does it feel like to drive the new car? What does it feel like to go on a road trip in your new car? What are you going to do in your new car? When it comes to visualizing and setting those goals, you want to really see that image. If you want to have a toned body, you want to really embrace it with every aspect. What are you going to be doing with that toned body? It's got to be that one step further to really make the vision happen. How are you living out the values of your spirituality in your day-to-day life? And that spirituality has many different connotations for different people. So that could be, maybe you're talking about the actual aspect of being in nature. Maybe nature is your spiritual part. Maybe it's meditating. Maybe it's doing yoga. How do you find value in your spirituality? And how would you rate your spirituality or faith overall? So family and friends, are you happy in your relationships? Is there a particular person, and you can even put this on your vision board, maybe it's your mother, right? You're like, I'd really love to create a wonderful, loving relationship. Maybe you have two pictures, like one of you and one of her, and like a heart in the middle, right? Creating a loving, happy relationship. Are you spending enough time with the people you love? Are you regularly speaking the love languages of those you care about? How would you rate your relationships overall? So these questions are really to get your excuse me, your brain going, to help create that overall arching vision. Your career. So lots of people have had changes in their careers over the past 2 years because, right, like now working with COVID, maybe they completely changed their job, maybe even working more at home. So this is a really big one for 2022. Are you on the path towards where you want to be? What's your career vision? Are you on that path to get there? Do you need to make shifts? Does your career align with your values? I put values on that one that I created, that circular one. For example, if you value being home and raising a little one, then a career on the fast track that as you constantly traveling isn't going to meet that best alignment. So you need to think about what that goal is, how you transition and transform to that goal, but is it resonating with your values? And how would you rate your career overall? Achievements. What do you want to achieve this year? What is that to you? Maybe it's like, okay, maybe you have a business where you have clients or something. Maybe you want to have 1,000 new clients this year. What is it that you want to achieve? Maybe you want to achieve wellness and health. You're like, okay, I really want to be the healthiest, most energized, healthy, natural eater this year. So maybe you got to be specific, but what do you want to achieve? What's that goal? Are there goals on your achievement list that you realize aren't important or don't belong there? If you're like me, I keep my goals from year to year and I look back and I'm like, okay, that maybe should have been tweaked a little bit. I really didn't achieve that. Maybe I got everything checked off. This wasn't really important. This is manifested into something different. Be specific. What are some new achievements you can add to the list, right? You're like, okay, maybe I actually think I want to try this, and who knows if it'll happen or not, but put it on there. How would you rate your current level of achievements overall? Fun. Okay, so this is all about what activities do you consider fun? So I really want you to think about this. And I mentioned this before, like hobbies, adventures, family, whatever it is, what makes you light up? And when people see you doing that activity, they can say, oh my gosh, that person is so in their zen, so happy and enjoying life. That's what I mean by that. And are you prioritizing them? That's what you want to put at the hugest priority on your vision board. What is the most fun for you? And are you regularly taking time away for fulfilling activities that energize you? You're like, are you giving yourself self-care? Is everything you're doing zapping any last moment of breath you could have for doing something fun and fulfilling? That's not a way to have the best life. How would you rank your fun experiences? You could put them on a list and rank like, okay, yeah, this climbing Mount Kilimanjaro, that's number one, right? Like we can rank them in fun. Ideally, you want to rank your satisfaction with the areas of your life on a scale of 1 to 10. Right? Okay, this is the most fun thing. That's not so fun. I don't really like that. There's no right or wrong answer. If it feels like a 5 to you, that's a 5. What feels like a 5 to you might not feel like a 5 to somebody else. And if an area scores low, ask yourself why, and consider what you need to change in your life. Is there something that's blocking that? Is there something that's feeling stuck? Do you need to shift it and put it in a different place on your vision board and that wheel that I showed in the beginning? Okay. Now we're going to pick a word or 3 words. And I'm going to talk about that. Then we're going to do some breakouts. One thing that I really feel is super important for creating your vision board is to fully embrace one word. And this can be sometimes people are like, oh yeah, that's my word. I got it. But sometimes you're like, I don't know what my word is. So I'm going to give you some help with that. And then you're going to break out and talk about that with your friends. So you're trying to choose a new word for the upcoming year. And you want something that captures all your hopes and dreams and inspirations for the new year. So if you're struggling to choose a theme, it can be helpful again to think of that one word, right? Let's say, for instance, for me, my word for the year, I have 3 of them. One of them is creativity. And for me, what that means is I want to look at each area of my life, bring more creativity into it, but also how can I be more creative to achieve those actual goals? And I love to do artwork. I haven't been doing artwork a lot lately. How can I be more creative in that life aspect of myself? So one of my words is creativity for this year. So here are 3 reasons you might want to consider the word method. So one word or phrase invites simplicity. It can really help things to me not seem overwhelming. And that's one thing about a vision board, especially if you haven't made one before, or remember I talked about that goal fear. If you get overwhelmed easily, if you pick that one word, it can really help. By just having one word or phrase, it really helps us to guide and simplify a resolution. And not only does this decrease stress, it also makes it easier to focus. So words are powerful. They can create or destroy. So you really want to choose your words wisely, really pick them with intention. And you might change that. You're like, maybe, okay, you have an overall arching word for the year, but maybe each month you have a different word. So what does that look like for you? It's easy to think of resolutions like a dessert bar filled with cakes and candy, cookies, ice cream, right? You want one of everything. So it's easy to load up on the things that you think you're supposed to. What if you flipped that script? What if instead of trying to take a bit of everything, you just picked one decadent dessert, like maybe it's a creamy cheesecake with a sweet cherry glaze? That one thing, because then it helps to really drive that focus, and it also helps you with achievements. And then the third thing is it helps you, it's easy to fixate on what you don't like about yourself or your life. And that's what, when I think it was Christine, when she was asking about what you want to leave behind, this is that thing, when you pick that word, it helps you to move forward, helps you to release and let go of things that aren't serving you anymore, help you to move into 2022. And you don't fixate on that word, maybe that has been going over in your stuck loop in your mind. You're like, oh, I just can't seem to lose weight. So you have to pick up something different. But choosing one word to embrace can shift your focus, right? And this can help make that purpose. And maybe I can answer that slide question. So not all these slides are in the guide. The guide is a little bit different. So you're going to receive a copy of these slides, so that will go with the presentation. I did that because this is really to get your brain moving and get things flowing. And then the guide is just a little different. Okay, so here are, oh my gosh, look at all these. Here are words. These, and like, you're like, okay, what's my word going to be this year? Like looking through, like maybe it's ambition, maybe it's integrity, maybe it's shaman, maybe it's openness. So these are some words that I think will help get your juices going. And what I'd like you to do, so there is a sheet, and I'm going to stop the share for a second here. And I want to pull up a different sheet in the sheet, and Sonia can pop it over into the chat. It's this one here, and I'm going to share it with you so you can see it really well. Okay, in this sheet here, so this is kind of like the subcategory to help you launch off into your vision board. So you can see up here, it's my wellness vision for 2022. It's got your physical, your mental, your spiritual, your financial. And then over here, your wellness vision words for the year. So I want you to, this is where I want you to put the words, brainstorm, and I'm going to put you into some breakout sessions. You're going to have 10 minutes where there's going to be 5 people in each breakout session, and you'll have 2 minutes per person. And maybe you don't have that word picked out. That's okay. Take a moment within the group, look at that list and say, okay, I think I need this. The word looks really good for me. I want you to pick 3 words and talk about for 2 minutes, like why these are resonating. And the purpose behind this is when we talk about our word with others in that healing collective, it helps us to magnify that word, and it helps to create this amazing energy within us and the support of the community. So what I want you to do is to take a few moments, and you're going to use this sheet here. I want you to pick some words. You can write more than 3 if you'd like to. So you have these words here. These are going to help get you started. I'm going to give you access to so that you're in the video, your videos are on, and then you're going to be able to talk about them. And if whoever wants to talk about them, we'll see what time we have in that 10 minutes to talk about those words. Okay, that's our plan. Okay, so here we go. You guys can go ahead and write down some words, the ones that are resonating with you. Right. All right, perfect. Now I can see everybody. Yay, all you guys with your beautiful faces. Okay, so then you should be able, if you'd like to speak, you can just raise your hand on the bottom. See that, raise your hand. And then what we'll do is then you can unmute yourself. That way not everybody's talking at once. We can take some turns, okay? Be great. So who would like to go first? Anybody want to jump in there and share about their words and what they really want to choose as their vision, why they're choosing that for this year? Anybody out there? Don't be shy. Okay, great. It looks like Christine is up. Perfect. Christine, why don't you go ahead?
Okay. So it's been a really tough couple of years with regard to my health. So I was thinking maybe healer, but it feels weird when I say it. It doesn't seem right. The other thing is I want to say I've been lazy, but I know I've been dealing with a lot of health challenges. So there's part of me that wants to be like accountable or take ownership. I saw trustworthy, like I don't even trust myself to get anything done anymore. So I'm not sure. I know that I just want I want energy. I want to be able to focus. I like the word focus a lot, but I want energy. Like I'm so low on energy and stuff like that. I just don't know. Like
it sounds like, so one, I think you've mentioned healer was one of the first ones that you mentioned. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
And then focus. So, but then it also sounded like you are feeling like you're not quite sure and then feeling unstuck. Is that correct? Is that what I heard from?
I'm still stuck. for sure.
Okay.
So my
So,
goal would be to be unstuck, actually. My goal to be like, I just want to be like in forward motion. I feel like I've been like stuck for a few years now. So
okay. So feeling stuck. So I think maybe take a look at some of the words that allow movement, flexibility, like opening up, like open, flexibility, those types of things I think might help you to move out of that stuck place. So maybe pick one word that helps with that flexibility piece to get you moving, and then pick some of those other words as the overarching. And I think one person said, Juliana said, can you pick more than three? Of course you can, but I want you to fine tune and focus on those. One is your overarching, and then having two. So like Christine, does that seem to help, that like focusing on something that helps you
yeah,
feel unstuck?
like open is resonating because I'm open to healing. I'm open to being like to moving forward. I'm open to focusing. Like I'm open to like change really.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
open is really good. I'm liking open a lot.
Nice. Great. Yeah. And when it comes to the words too, a great thing to do as well is pick some of these words, maybe even from that list that I gave you, and then write them down and then come back to them, like maybe in a meditation or tomorrow when you're working on your board, you're like, that word doesn't feel like 100%, just like Christine was saying. So I'm not quite feeling it. You want to like feel that word. And when you feel it, you're like, oh my God, this is it. You'll know when you get to it, and then change it up. You put it on your board. That's why for me, I like sticky notes because I can move stuff around really easy on my board before I write it on there. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
pick that word that you can move around. You're like, openness seems good, but I need to fix it.
Okay. Awesome. I like that. Thank you so much.
Oh, yeah. Kimberly, I can see you there. Your hand raised. Awesome. Go ahead.
Hello. So when I was thinking about my word, I had a word for the year and it's been presence. I feel like I live my life a little passive aggressively from the sidelines, but now I'm thinking I want it to be intentional, right? So I guess that's more of an action word where I can really be intentional about the things that I'm doing.
Yeah, that's great, Kimberly. We're all cheering you on for intention, and make sure that you read the last bit of the guide. I have a whole section there on how to create intention and really focus with intention. So intention is a great one, and it will help really help you to set intentions for all the areas, those other areas on your vision board. That's great. I love that. I think Felicia has her hand up. Felicia?
Hi, yeah, thank you.
Sure.
My words would be calm and peace. The pandemic has been really hard on our family, and so I'm finding a lot of anxiety. So I need to get back in to be calm and peaceful. Also, vibrant health is resonating with me because that's whole body health, including your mind and your physical, because I think they are connected. And then joy, because I've been reading Gabrielle Bernstein's book that nothing comes into manifestation. It comes in quick when you joy. So I want to have more joy in my life.
Love it. Wow, that's great. I love it. And when you're talking about that peace and vibrancy, think about how they're like almost on, not quite opposites, but how they can be synergists. How can you have peace and calm and be vibrant? Does that make sense?
Yeah, there's kind of a duality there. I was going to ask you, how does that work? Because I know you can't just be a vegetable. You have to have vibrancy.
Exactly. So for in that section of your board, in that health section for the emotional piece, that emotional health, I challenge you to go deep there into how you can create that environment, like coming with intention, like Kimberly was saying, with every moment with intention of being in that calm place, but with this vibrancy of self. Does that make sense?
Vibrancy of self. No, what do you mean by
vibrancy of self? So when you're coming into the world with each moment that you're like with intention, with each action that you do, how can you be vibrant with yourself, with your place of purpose, with your place of passion, from that place of peace?
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Thank
Yeah.
you. That's
Yeah.
very good, very rich.
Yeah, of course. Okay, I think that AA has, you got your hand up. You're next.
Sure. So for me, I've got three words, and the first one is awaken, the second is courage, and the third is expressive or expression. I think that's what the choice was. And I chose those because I've gone through some adversity for quite some time. And I'm coming into this new awareness and this new path. And I find myself that as I'm ready for this new phase and transition, there's a fear to hide still. There's a fear to essentially remain that old person. So when the fear comes, I see myself saying I need to get go into that, tap into that courage to express who I'm really, who I am, to be able to like garner essentially what I want. So it's like getting past that fear and having the courage to really do express everything that my heart desires to express to the world as a gift.
Love that. Could you repeat your words one more time? I couldn't quite hear what you said in the beginning.
Awaken, courage, and expression.
Love it. Awaken, courage, and expression. Love that. And that's ACE, the ace in the hole, right? So I love that. And when it comes to that fear, letting the fear go and really focusing on those three words and letting the fear go, that'll be, and maybe even having to let go as a little side piece of your vision board might be helpful too. Because when fear comes up, there's two parts to fear, right? Fear prevents us from moving forward, but fear also propels us to move forward. So when you're thinking about that, having that courage to move forward, is it coming from a fear-based perspective, from a place of holding you back, or from a fear place of helping you move forward? Does that make sense?
Yes, it's more like fear of success.
Mm-hmm. Okay, super. All right. I think everybody that wanted to speak, was there anybody else that wanted to chime in? Oh, Kimberly, you still have your hand up. Did you want to say something else? No. Okay, perfect. Okay, great. Thank you. Oh, sorry, Ellie, go ahead.
That's okay. So I wasn't going to share, but when you started talking about fear, I had this, it's not a revelation because I've known it for some time, but I was trying to find a positive word and I kept getting the non stuck in there. I guess my word is wait, because I'm very impatient and intolerant and not accepting, and it's really mainly with my family, mainly with my husband. I just feel like I have to control everything. So I'm trying to find the opposite of control. So I was thinking, wait, I don't know if you can help me out there.
Sure. Yeah, I think the weight is a little bit of a holding you back. Like I think you mentioned like the not aspect.
True.
So I think maybe like patience might be, see how that one resonates with you. Something that is giving you the space for quote unquote waiting to move forward, but also in a place of getting out of the not words.
What about accepting or
Yeah,
tolerance?
acceptance is a great one. Yeah, you could have maybe acceptance at peace and the patience piece. And then maybe there's even some self-love that comes in there.
Okay. I think I'm doing that. I'm holding back. I'm doing all this self-talk about not my cow, not my farm. Stay in your own backyard.
Right. Yeah.
So patience, maybe that's, I'll spend some time with that and see how it feels.
Yeah. And see what resonates, like I mentioned earlier. And I think someone put in the chat too, going to a synonym searcher is a great one, because you're like, oh, maybe that word wasn't quite the one, but you're like, oh, this one is the one. So you can look at different ones, and you can search for, there's other things you can search for on the internet too, that give you some ideas of things. And just really sit with the word too. Write it down. And this is to everybody. Write that word down and feel it. Put it up on your mirror. Does it resonate with you completely, right? To help you move forward. And if you need to change it, no worries. You're in charge of your own life. If you need to change it, no big deal. Okay, great. Thank you everyone for participating. And that was really great because when we voice what our words are, it really makes such a difference. And in that healing collective, like I was mentioning. Okay, I'm going to go back to sharing. We're going the screen here. All right, here. Okay, so we talked about the words here. Awesome. We did some breakout sessions. And then I'm not going to go, this is the next section of the slides, which I'll post them, but they're not, this is all about the materials that you use. So you can use a piece, and I talked about this earlier. You can use a piece of paper. You can use a electronic form. There's all different things you can use to really help you to have something that's visual. That would be my best suggestion there, is having something that you can look at every day. And for me, what I like to do too is sometimes I'll even take a picture of it with my phone. And if I'm going on vacation or something, then I can also have that with me too, which is great. Okay, and then selecting images, I talked about this. And then these are just some ideas of some things you can use. So they have pens and writing utensils, colored pencils or markers, scissors, decorative elements, sticky notes, glitter, bling, whatever you like. Maybe your feathers, images of crystals, plants, whatever it is that's going to help like really excite you. Maybe you're into, like I said, I haven't been doing artwork. So I might bring some elements of that on my vision board, pictures of paintings or different artists, things like that. Okay, and then I talked about making the monthly one. So monthly is just like a little mini version of that. And so what the monthly one does, so after you have the overall arching theme of your bigger one, the basic method is then you can do a little one every month. You can use a smaller piece of the poster board or even a printable one that you can create online with programs like PowerPoint or excuse me, Canva. And then each month you can take those kind of like bigger goals and write them on your monthly one. And that could be really helpful because like, thinking about what people were talking about in those words, you're like, okay, maybe my word is really acceptance. So it's okay, how am I going to, is that acceptance? Is that accepting the environment around me? Break that down a little bit in your monthly goal. And how can you get to that goal better? And what does that really mean for you? What is that self-acceptance or acceptance of people around you? Maybe it's accepting your partner. Maybe that when you're talking about acceptance, it really comes from that unconditional love. So there's different ways we can use that monthly one to help us then achieve the yearly goal. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to talk about my mindset reset course that I have coming up. That you can sign up for. This is a 5-week course, and then we're going to give away an entry to the course too. So I'm going to talk about it first so you know what you're going to be getting, and it's amazing. So if you're really ready to like crush 2022, really get rid of that exhaustion, overwhelm, burnout, stress, anxiety, maybe you just want like a reset, this is a perfect course. It's just 5 weeks and it's self-paced, and the content is released each week. So you don't feel overwhelmed and you don't feel stressed out, which I found that's a really great way to work through the course. So you don't have everything at once. You're like, oh my gosh, I'm overwhelmed. I can't even start it. So the course, what it is about is that it covers habits and mindset, all about that vision. And so what today we talked about how to create the vision. And this is from that mindset piece, that emotional health perspective. How can you then achieve those things in specific way, addressing specific pillars of your life in relationship to stress? So if you had 5 simple and easy to follow modules to follow, then everything in your life becomes simple, right? You don't feel overwhelmed. You feel the ease of to move through. The fear is let go. So you don't have to be a victim of the stress. So many of us have had so much stress over the past few years, which is why I created this course to give you the easy tools, something easy that you can use on an everyday basis. So there's the effects of stress on the mind and the body. That's week 1. And then week 2, daily habits and changes to relieve stress. And throughout the course, you'll be getting weekly videos from me, as well as meditations to really help you dive in deep to releasing that stress, but also to reset that mindset. That's that whole reset mindset piece, because we want to make a new tape loop. We want to make new things for our vision for 2022. You're going to learn how to have stress relief through mindful changes, learn how to really journal intensely, so to speak, so that when you're journaling, it's a brain dump, but also from the self-care perspective, so that you're really nurturing yourself from 2022, nurturing the you that is all about you. You should be the number one priority. And 2022 is making you the priority when it comes to self-care. And then I'm going to give you some great natural remedies as well for stress relief. So a really great course. And you'll receive 5 weekly modules to reset and restore your body. So it's going to be guides and a video for me, your expert in mind reset, and you're going to have meditations to tune into your higher self and your soul to help you achieve this 2022 vision. It's like we talked about, okay, how do we create it, but how do we want to achieve it? And that's that mindset piece. So the whole program is only $99, and all attendees today get $25 off the program, which is awesome. So for $75, you have this 5 weeks of amazing material, and you'll be able to access material, work through material, and really have a whole new mindset for 2022, that whole reset, the whole restoration of your body. And so we're going to do a little giveaway. And in honor of Martin Luther King, happy Martin Luther King Day, the first person that can tell me in the chat, and Sonia's going to watch there, where he gave his speech, "I have a dream." So the first person that put that in there will win the Mindset Reset program. Oh, yeah, there you go. Christine, or I think, let's see. I think Kimberly was the first one, DC, but Sonia will keep track of that. So that's awesome. Oops, let me go back here. Nope. So if you didn't win, that's okay, no worries. You have a coupon code, it's Vision 2022 2022, and you get $25 off. And all you have to do is go to the website there. That's my website, doclulu.com/mindset-reset program. And you'll see that under the mindfulness tab. And it's super easy to get to. And we're going to send out a big recap tomorrow. We'll download this audio. And for those of you that couldn't attend in person, you can watch it later, and then you'll be able to also find the code, and the discount is good for 48 hours. So make sure you're jumping on in and doing that. And all right, so we did this. We won that. That's awesome. Congratulations. Okay, and then wrapping up today. So I'm going to take questions, and then also just want to show you how to find me, how to follow me, because I'm always doing amazing webinars like this. Every week I have a webinar, and that's either live or like this, and where we're doing group healing. And so you can follow me on Instagram at Dr. LuLu Shimek. And that's the best way to really find out about what's going on. You can also subscribe to our newsletter. We're sending out weekly wellness and monthly about all the recaps we have going on. Some other amazing programs coming up this year. So I have a thyroid program starting, and that's on sale now. And that starts February 17th. That's all about recovering the thyroid. I have an adrenal reset program happening on March 28th. That's going to be really helping you to achieve the most amazing maximum energy for 2022. I have a chakra balancing program. I just am launching this one. I'm so excited. We're going to be going through each of the chakras with the learning how to balance them on a physical and emotional level for the best alignment and connection to ourselves for 2022. And then I also have my Genetic Vibes membership. Will be launching in June. That's a monthly membership where we'll be doing more specific group work like this, healing, collective work, etc. And then I have a women's hormone program launching in August. So that's a lot of stuff going on for me, and you are going to have the most amazing year. I'm so excited for all the things that you shared with in our wellness webinar today. Okay, Here we go. I'm sharing the screen now. This is my website. It's doclulu.com. So if you go to the programs tab, it's the third one here, you'll see all the programs. And then if you collect on this, on the category, like for mindfulness, you collect mindfulness, and then all the mindfulness programs are here. You can see and on each tab, I have all my webinars from last year, and you can listen to them. All the recordings are there and the handouts, and that's for every single subject that's up here. And also I'll show you another section that has that too. So that's awesome. So here's the mindset reset program. And then here's the own your own power program right underneath it. They're both amazing. I love them. So this is the 21-day self-paced course. And then if you go to Empower You, click on that, one's going to take you to all of the programs and workshops and webinars, all the webinars from last year, all up here, and starting the ones from this year, and they're all free, and you can go back and you can listen to them, watch them, and download all the guides that go with them. So it's an amazing resource. I have tons of free information and resources. So make sure you check that out. Is that good? Awesome. Thank you everyone for attending tonight. If there's not any more questions, we're going to sign off for the evening. And again, if you need to contact me, it's the info at doclulu.com. Any questions about anything I covered tonight, I'm here to support you. And I can't wait to see your growth for 2022. And we'll send out a recap from everything tonight, so you'll have all of those goodies in your hands. Okay, you're welcome. I'm so glad. Thank you everyone for attending tonight, and have the most beautiful, healthy year of 2022.